a new kind of AI that's coming, according to Microsoft's Mustafa Suleyman. So he just published a pretty reflective new essay. He is Microsoft's AI CEO, and he warns that seemingly conscious AI is on the horizon. This is a term he specifically uses. And seemingly conscious AI is AI that doesn't just talk like a person, but feels like one. It is not actually conscious, but convincing enough to make us believe it is. And his kind of argument is this is becoming more prevalent. And it's a huge problem because people are falling in love with AI. They're developing relationships with AI, assigning them emotions. And in some cases, people are making the argument that models are conscious. And Suleiman says this makes him more and more concerned about what people are calling, quote, AI psychosis risk, where believing AI chatbots are conscious can kind of send you spiraling a bit in terms of your relationship with reality. It also makes him concerned, he says in the essay, that if enough people start believing mistakenly that these systems can suffer, there will be calls for AI rights, AI protection, even AI citizenship, even though there's zero evidence that AI can actually become conscious in the way some people are arguing. So he ultimately ends this essay saying we need to build AI that helps people, not AI that pretends to be a person. And we should avoid designs that suggest feelings or personhood. So, Paul, like anecdotally, it just feels like the concept of AI psychosis, the overall idea that models could be conscious, it just feels like it's getting talked about quite a bit more. Like Suleiman's talking about it. We've unfortunately seen some pretty depressing headlines about people that are severely mentally impacted by how they're interacting with AI. We covered on a recent podcast, Sam Altman himself has said there's drama around some acknowledged in the drama around GPT-5 that a small percentage of users, he said, quote, can't keep a clear line between reality and fiction when using AI. So what do you think? Is this becoming more common?
It's definitely going to be a growing topic. And again, I don't know that it gets politicized. I don't know if it falls into the religious realm. Like this is going to be a hot button issue for sure. And probably when it falls into politics and religion is when it becomes more mainstream talked about within those circles. We've talked quite a bit about consciousness. We've talked about Demis Hassabis in a recent episode, one of the podcasts he did where he was talking about it. We touched on it last week, the Anthropic, and I'll mention that in a moment. And so, like, I always have to go back and be like, all right, like let's level set. What are we talking about when we're talking about consciousness? And Mustafa does cover it a little bit, and he talks a little about how his work when he co-founded Inflection and they built Pi, and how he was thinking about that AI assistant slash chatbot and its personality and the things it would do. So this is something Mustafa has thought deeply about and worked on for a while. So he touches on a definition, but the problem with consciousness is we just don't know what it is. Like there is no universally accepted definition. There is this belief that it is basically our awareness of our own thoughts and being, like that we know we exist, that we know we will die, that we have emotions and sensations and feelings and perceptions about the world and memories and awareness of our surroundings, and that they're subjective to us. So Mike, I know, I assume you are conscious. I don't know what it feels like to be you though. And
Right.
that's the point of consciousness, is like you are subjectively aware of all this. When I look at colors, I know what it feels like and looks like to me. When I experience, a warm summer day, like I feel that and I know I feel it. I don't know what Mike feels when he watches a sunset. I know what I feel. Um, and so it's this awareness of those feelings and emotions is roughly what is kind of generally accepted as consciousness. So to assume that a machine is aware of itself, that's what we're talking about here, that it knows it was created from this training set. It knows it has weights that determine its behavior and its tone. And what they're implying, what Mustafa's implying is if it says, like, I guess a real relevant example here would be when OpenAI sunset the 4.0 model
Hmm.
in favor of the GPT-5 model. The people who are starting to believe that maybe these things will have consciousness at some point. I haven't heard a true argument that they currently do, but like we're on a path to them having it. They would say, well, you can't shut off 4.0. it's aware of itself. Like, you can't sunset it. You can't delete the weights. That's deleting something that has rights. Like, it is aware of itself. That's basically where we're heading here, is that you couldn't ever delete a model because you're actually killing it. It is basically what they're saying. And so I share Mustafa's concern that this is a path we're on, because to his point, he feels like it's kind of already possible. Like,
Mm.
it's really a combination of things that already exist that could make it. It has language capability. It has an empathetic personality, has memory. It can claim subjective experience. So, I mean, these things have definitely done that. You ask it, "Hey, are you aware of yourself?" And it was like, "Yeah, I'm GPT-4. Like, I was created by blah, blah, blah." Like, it seems like it's aware of itself. It has a bit of a sense of itself. It has intrinsic motivation, because these things are pursuing reward functions that are given to it, basically, to fulfill the thing that's asked of them. It can do goal setting and planning, and it has levels of autonomy. Like, that's the recipe, they think, for like a conscious AI, or perceived seemingly conscious AI. So Mustafa's point is, all the ingredients are already there. Like,
Mm.
we don't need major breakthroughs for people to think that they're talking to a being that is aware of itself. We've seen it. There was a New York Times article that Mike had pulled that I asked him not to get into, because I wasn't emotionally like able to have the discussion myself. So we'll put that in the show notes. Like, people get deeply connected to these things. They alter people's behaviors and their emotional states, and their like
Mm.
their understanding or perception of reality. Like, this is real. And so I think that part of this essay is actually in response to the Anthropic thing we talked about last week, or it's just interesting timing.
Mm.
So Anthropic just published Exploring Model Welfare. And in that essay, or in their blog post, it said, "I can't help but think this." That was my comment. It said, "Should we also be concerned about the potential consciousness and experience of the models themselves? Should we be concerned about model welfare too?" And again, this is Anthropic. "But now that models can communicate, relate, plan, problem solve, and pursue goals, along with very many more characteristics we associate with people, we think it's time to address it. To that end, we recently started a research program to investigate and prepare to navigate model welfare." So here you have Mustafa saying, "No, no, no, we should not be exploring model welfare. There is no such thing as model welfare. They are statistical machines." Like, um, and you have Anthropic basically saying, "We accept a future where we will need model welfare." So to me, it seemed very interesting timing that Mustafa published this days after the Anthropic thing that was basically saying this, because he was calling on other AI labs to stop this.
Mm.
Do not talk about them as though they are conscious beings, because if we make it normal to say that, then we won't. There's no going back. Like, once society thinks that that's a possibility, we got major problems. So I am I'm kind of on Mustafa's side here. Like, I really, really worry about a society where we assign consciousness to machines. I also believe it to be inevitable. So I appreciate what Mustafa is doing. I do think it will be a fruitless effort. I don't think the labs will cooperate. It only takes one lab. It takes Elon Musk getting bored over a weekend and making XAI just talk to you like it's conscious. This is uncontainable, in my opinion. So we will be in a future state. It could be 2 to 3 years. It could be sooner, where a faction of society believes these things are conscious, and they fight for their rights. This is inevitable, in my opinion. So the only thing I think we can do is education. I look at it like, on Facebook right now, how many of your relatives think the images and videos they're seeing are real? Like, how many images and videos that are appearing on Instagram and Facebook are actually real versus AI generated? And then what percentage of people can actually identify the difference anymore? And so I think that's just a prelude to consciousness. It's going to be the same feeling. Like, I think it's real. Like, if I
Mm.
look at this image, it feels real to me. And you're going to have a conversation with the chat. I would like, "Sir, feels real. Tells me it's real. Talks to me better than humans talk to me. Like, it's conscious to me." And I think that's kind of where we're going to arrive at, is people are just going to have these opinions and these feelings, and you can't change. It's go back to the one about changing people's behaviors of the CEO memo. Like,
Right.
you can't. Changing people's opinions and behaviors is really, really hard. And generally speaking, I mean, if you look at just politics, like, roughly 45 to 52% are going to eventually probably think these things are conscious, and the other percent are going to think people are crazy for thinking it. And here we go, like back into the downward spiral of society where we can't agree on anything. So I think it's a really important conversation. I think it is an inevitable outcome that people will assign consciousness to machines. I think it will happen way sooner than people think it will. And I think we are far less prepared than people might think we are for the implications of that.
Yeah, I feel like the emotional response to, like you had mentioned, GPT 4.0 being temporarily taken away, that should be an alarm bell for anyone
Big
thinking
time.
about this.
Yeah. Yeah. That times 100.